Recording in progress.
Perfect. Okay. So, yesterday we learned the corrido del tío Julián from Sepúlveda, a village in the province of Segovia, in the region of Castilla y León, middle north Spain. And maybe we could review it a bit. So people can maybe play the melody if you want to and remember the melody a bit. And we would like to teach you also the chords and talk a bit about the rhythm, more specifically for those instruments who usually have more a role of accompanying the melody. Because this is a tune in 5/8, and yesterday we talked about how to feel the subdivision, not think about 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2, because it's a lot of numbers. So don't think about numbers, but think a bit more about it's kind of like a short, long short, and it comes in phrases of two. So it's like kind of like a waltz, 1 2 and 1 da 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 da, right? So it's easier to make the phrasing. So we're gonna talk about that more specifically for the rhythm, because the rhythm and the accompanying instruments can have a very important role on that.
And by accompanying instruments, she doesn't mean that like guitars are accompaniment and flutes are melody. She means that whichever instrument happens to be in that role at the time, because
exactly.
we're now defying instrumental roles.
Yeah, I have to play many
say
times.
Instrument gender roles, but it's just the things that have sort of. Oftentimes we see guitars as accompaniment instruments, but they don't have to be, and fiddles don't have to be melody instruments either. It's good to break free of that.
Yeah. So, what if I review the tune once?
Can we play the tune you and I one time?
Pero tú ponte más lejos.
Yeah, I'll put myself just a little bit back. Can you hear us all right?
Tell us if you can hear us.
Because yesterday we had some trouble with that.
We can hear, but the visuals are not correct.
What's the question?
We can hear, but the visual, it's showing the host and not you on the main screen.
I think you can select that, right?
Sure. I had this. Oh, there's so much.
Can everybody see us well?
I think whoever is the admin, maybe Karen, I think you're the one who has to pin us to that.
I have you pinned.
Okay, so maybe somebody can.
I was trying to get rid of the gallery, and I haven't figured out how to do that. But I do have you pinned.
You can select that on top, but
yeah, but if you
see what.
I'm not sure there's anything we can do from our end on that.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to hide people. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, okay. John can see us both fine. I think there's some more people. It's some technical issues.
Lucky guy, John.
Okay, so let's play the tune once. Hope you can.
We're gonna get into it, and if the video gets better or whatever as we go along, then great.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to say that somebody suggested I make them speaker, and when I was on speaker, they are on speaker, and before I wasn't getting the right people. They're on speaker. And pinned.
Well.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for me, Karen. Your box is in green, and it's the only one in green. But maybe that's just an admin thing.
Okay. Well. Okay, let's do this. Hope that you can at least all.
For those of you who learned the tune yesterday, feel free to pluck along or play along or whatever. A little refresher.
Yeah. So, let's do it. We can play it twice. We're gonna play the tune 2 times. Maybe the first time if you want to hear it or join us, you feel free. So, let's do it. Can you do an intro? Yeah. Ready? And 1, 2, espacio. And. A par. One more time, B par. Yeah. So that's the groove. Dum, bum, 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 bum. Remember, like the beat of the heart. Yeah. And we can balance it here like this with the bow, or we can do
Think of it as
this.
short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long.
Yeah, that's the other way of doing this rhythmic accompaniment on the bow here. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Yeah. It feels a bit like it could feel like a waltz, but remember it's not a waltz. Yeah. The waltz is always more, ¿cómo se dice? Like when you do this with a baby.
Rocky.
Rocky, yes. Yeah, that's
It
waltz.
rocks, yeah.
And the 5/8, it's very, very easy to go there. But the 5/8, it's always on the ground. Yeah. You remember we were talking yesterday about the beat that we feel in our heart, but also the guts. The guts is, I think, the 5/8. You can feel it on the guts. It connects this two chakras a lot. Like duk, 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 duk. Yeah. So remember going there. So I'm gonna leave you now with Galen, and we're gonna talk about chords for both parts.
just a little bit about chords
back.
and also sort of a way to play it in a fun way, because I find that, I mean, with any rhythm really, but especially this rhythm where that sort of duck 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 is so marked. It can really border between this cool momentum and boringness. So we have to find a way for it not to be boring and for it not to fall into waltz territory. And so here are the chords. I'll just put them right there. I'll play through them so that they make sense, and I'll sing them along. This like will probably be easy, like more familiar to those of you who do chords more often. But if you don't want to do chords, you can also just do the note, right? So you've got G. It goes. Da 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 D. G. Repeats. C, D, G. Again. G, G, D, G, 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 C, D, G.
And if you have a fiddle, you can do G. I usually put G with third finger and I play both strings. Then D, I put the first finger on the G string, so we have A and D. So D and G again, and then G, again G. Then C, I usually put this E with first finger and D string, and third finger on the G string, on the G string. So we have E and C. So we have C. This is C chord for us. D and G. Yeah. If you want to do G, just open strings here. That could also work. So the A part, we can do it together, everybody. So 1, 2, 3, and G. G. Now D. G. Now C. D. G. One more time. Yeah, and I think those are mostly all the chords. The B part has
That's
the
the whole
new
A part,
one.
yeah.
The E minor, just for in case of if you don't know how to do E minor, I usually use E with the first finger and B here. Yeah. Ay, que se me queman los macarrones. Sorry.
So, yeah, we'll now do the B part, which goes C. So it doesn't start on the G, right? It doesn't start on the 1. It starts on the 4. So we've got C, G, D, new chord E minor, C, G, D, G. Repeats. C, G, D. We go to E minor. C, G, D, G. So this is the very, very simplified version of the chords. There's lots that you can do with this melody, but that's the bare bones of it. So with that, knowing that we don't have to change chord all that often, and we're pretty much changing the chord every 2 bars. The nice thing that we can work on then, since the chords aren't too complex, is we can work on the rhythm aspect, right?
Well,
What?
I just wanted to say that we wrote it like that. We wrote the chords like that. But just in case somebody's thinking how many bars is each thing, it would be actually 2. So the first G is actually 2 bars already.
Yeah.
Okay, you said it. Okay. Yeah. But I think it's easier to read it like this. It's just so you don't get confused if you really are going to measure that. Yeah. Should we do it one more time?
Well, I want to talk about the rhythm thing,
yeah,
because here we are plunking on chukka to chukka chukka to chukka chukka to chukka chukka, and so the first thing to do in order to make the rhythm a bit more interesting is to make multiple bar phrases, so maybe like a 2-bar phrase, and so instead of going, I don't know if you can see my rhythm hand here, it might be easier, even if you're on other instruments. So I'm going chukka to chukka chukka to chukka chukka to chukka chukka. That's the basic rhythm, but you can also go chukka to chukka ta, chukka to chukka chukka to chukka chukka to chukka ta. So you're giving a little bit more space. Sometimes it's good to add subdivisions, sometimes it's good to take them away. So you can go from going chuk, 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 to chukka to chukka chukka to chukka chukka to chukka chukka to. So for example, if we were going to take just the first, the A part there, we've got, starting with G, we've got da 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 da. That's one thing you could do, right? So every time we went to that G, I stopped subdividing, and that just gives a little bit more space. Another thing that we can do is is sort of like this roll, because most of the rhythm was not written on a cittern or a stringed instrument. It was done on a snare drum, so they'd be going chakata 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 chakata, and sometimes they'd roll through the whole A part, right? So you got. Can you sing the melody, Maria, and I'll pretend I'm a snare drum for a second?
Sure.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Right, so you can put rolls.
Snare drum.
Yeah, I am not a beatboxer, but you can see that you can kind of create another story that's not just the melody with the rhythm. And if you have different instruments, like I see a banjo over there, banjo would be great for doing some sort of a rolly thing, right? I'm going to call out people who have their videos on. So, like, for example, my way of doing that, and I'm still working on the infinity roll here with the pick, but like, so I would do something like this. So it's kind of a, and you can try that on your plucky instruments. You can even try it on your Bowie instruments. I want to do it on the fiddle. Maybe I should take one instrument off before I try another one. So on the fiddle, I would go. To create some phrasing there, and I hesitate to dictate a phrasing because the way that this works is they're always changing the phrasing. But know that adding those spaces in there is a good way to make it more interesting as the accompaniment part, right? Because sometimes if you're playing the chords of a tune and you played the chords to the tune a million times, maybe you get sick of that tune because you played the chords or whatever. So it's good to include other ways of doing it. Any questions about chords and rhythm stuff? Since I can't see what everybody's working on, it's sort of hard to tailor this exactly to a particular instrument. But I see that maybe like an octave mandolin or a bouzouki down there. That looks cool. Questions about rhythm? There's got to be some questions about rhythm because I explained very little. You can turn on your mics or you can write it in the chat. And if there's no questions, well then I'll just continue. Another thing you
just go a bowing rhythm. Just the basic.
The basic rhythm, yeah. That's probably the most helpful thing. So the basic rhythm is, okay, now we are going to count a little bit. It was good that we didn't count it all yesterday, but today we're going to count just a little bit. We're just going to get a little bit nerdy with the counting because I think it can be helpful. We don't have to count with numbers. You can go, what's like a thing that people do, like plátano pera, like,
Takata, takata. Takata, takata.
right, okay, actually this is a really good way of doing it, right? So we've got plátano, which is banana, right? And pera, which is pear. So we've got plátano, which is the 3, and then pera, which is the 2, right? So you can go plátano pera, plátano pera, plátano pera, plátano pera, right? So that's a good way of thinking of the group because it's not plátano perano, right? It's plátano pera, and that's how you know that it's kind of this waltz, but with a limp, right? So you've got and you can also sort of, when you say it, you'll notice that when, like, while you're pronouncing plátano pera, there's sort of like an ingrained emphasis that you have there, right? Like Daka, daka, daka. So it's hitting the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You can then take any of those points and emphasize them if you want to, or you can turn it around. So you could go plátano, pera, or you could go pera, plátano.
No, bueno. No. No, 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 no. Let's not do that.
Maria doesn't want to do that.
No, but it's true that you
That'll
could,
be for next year.
the accent usually you can choose where to put it. If you follow always the same rhythmic structure, you can do taka 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 oh taka 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 taka.
Do it with plátanos.
Plata.
So
I mean,
it'd be like plátano, pera, plátano, pera,
Plata.
plátano, plera, plátano, plera, right?
Yeah, well, usually what I've heard, or what I feel, is that you can choose. We usually put the accent on the first note of each group. Yeah, we don't usually do a lot of accents in the middle of those two groups. I would say that's the basic, and we should go for that. Because I mean, you can
Basic
do many things,
is
but
plátano, pera. So if you do
Yeah.
that with a bow or with a pick or whatever, the important thing is that pa, plátano, pera, plátano, pera. And it's even more helpful if you get up and you walk while you say it. So you do this, right? So you go plátano, pera, plátano, pera, plátano, pera, plátano,
we
pera.
call it limp ritmo cojo, which means limp
Rhythm with a
rhythm.
limp.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And in the fiddle, just for those of you that have a bow, I could do this, which is what we did yesterday.
Down.
Yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. But usually, I try to have some contrast, because if you always do the same accompaniment part, it's, I don't know, boring to me. So so if I do it slow mo, so it feels that I'm surfing on the string when I'm doing the bows. The down bow is very like percussive, but the two up that I do, or the one up, it's like surfing the string. And what Galen said before about stopping and leaving some space, yes, you didn't say always tak 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 tak, right? If you try to do tak 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 tak, you can add a chop if you want to make it more exciting. Yeah, so you can do this. Yeah, so. Yeah, so that's another way of adding that chop element if you want to make it more interesting. I think it's cool. I would like to know, because I see some instruments, but I can't see others. Is there any question that you have specifically? I don't know,
To an instrument.
to an instrument? Like, I would like to know how to do that on another instrument. I don't know.
For example, those of you who are like on mandolins or whatever, you can also do kind of a choppy thing by muting the strings. Like, so you could go. So you're plátano, pera, ano, pera, plátano, pera, chopano, pera, plátano, pera, chopano, pera. So it happens on the
just chop.
second. If we're doing it each in bars of, in 2 bars, we're going taka ta taka taka ta taka. The second fla de
Plátano, pera,
plátano.
chop. Plátano, pera, chop.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to start.
Plátano, pera, chop.
So,
Plátano, pera, chop.
and
Plátano, pera, chop.
and
Plátano, pera, chop.
and.
Plátano, pera, chop. Exactly. So if you remember what I said yesterday about the phrasing of the notes, we said that we want to look up contrast. We want to find contrast between the very measured notes, and also the contrast between the notes that we can stretch a bit, especially for the B part, for example. Right? So that exactly, that thing happens exactly the same way with the rhythm here. Yeah. But the rhythm never stretches. It goes very on time. But you can look for contrast between when you stop and when you're very, when you mark every subdivision. Yeah. So that's how it happens, the game between the rhythm and the rhythm parts and the rhythm instruments and the contrapoint rhythm that happens in the melody. That's what happens and what it makes it interesting. That's the conversation that happens, and the dancers are gonna hear that, and it gives them so many possibilities. They can stick to the rhythm a bit more, or they can stick to the melody a bit more. Yeah. So the feet would be Galen, and the rest of the body would be like the branches of a tree that can move with the wind, but they go a bit afterwards. Yeah, a bit. That's how I see it.
That's a nice way to put it.
So it's a very interesting rhythm to explore the boundaries of the 5/8. I would say.
What if we
Played.
we can answer more questions about that, but I think you guys have a basis for moving on, and since we have half an hour, we'd like to teach some new material. What do we think about Jota? You want to do lots of light?
Do you want to play it one more time? Or do you prefer to go to another? Yeah? One more time. Let's do it. So you can stick to the rhythm, you can stick to the melody, or change whenever you need to. Okay, you have the chords in the chat here. So let's do this. Okay, rhythm please. 1, 2, 3, 4. La melodía. Melodía.
Beautiful.
So that's the corrido of the Uncle Julian, Tío Julian. And we wanted to teach you another tune.
Now we're going to switch gears a little bit.
It's also in G major, so you could do a set, but this tune would come before this corrida, I would say. It's not, I would say it's not a Castilian style tune. It's not composed in a Castilian way. It's composed in a San Miguel Fraser way. It's a tune that that we composed for the new album that it just came out, and well, do you want? Well, yeah, we called it Dots of Light, and it's a tune that represents those moments that you keep in a capsule. Yeah, and you can go back to them whenever you feel sad or whenever you need a hug in the form of a memory, or and it's a canon. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I was going to say, so there's a little bit, I was going to say it afterwards, but that's fine.
Sorry.
This tune has the added benefit that it's meant to be played as a round. So after this, you'll have to go find a friend. I'm sure you all have those. And you'll have to play it with that person. Maybe in the real in real life Lark camp later this year. That could be made happen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Oh,
play
they're
the tune.
asking, yeah, how can you buy your CD in
Dots
our
of Light. Yes,
website?
it's Dots of Light.
In website sanmiguelfraser.com.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the tune with Maria's fiddle, if you don't mind. Unless you want, would you go get out mine?
Yes.
I guess everything is recorded already, so here we go. It's made up of 4 easy phrases.
And it never ends. It's like one of those tunes that can never end.
Designed to be on.
Let's switch fiddles. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
switch
okay, your
fiddles.
fiddle. So on the album we play it a bit faster than that, but I like to play it slow, just so you can really feel the groove of it at that speed and also hear the difference in the voices. Because sometimes, like the nice thing about it is that you get into this sort of trance-like vibe with the person you're playing with, and so the first phrase is this. And starts on the G, eh? Yeah, one more time. 1, 2, 3. And we can really feel sort of the sway of it. The sway of it with the bow or with the pick or whatever. I tend to move my body a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so next phrase. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and that just repeats itself. So 2 times that phrase we go. Yeah, and that's the whole A part if you want to see that as the A part. It's really simple. Moving on to the next phrase we've got. Beginning on the E. Goes down to the C. 1, 2, 3. Next phrase. And so we've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll do that twice in a row as well. So we've got. And I tend to add some grace notes, well, pretty much all over the place. Put little flicky things all over there, but that's to each their own. So we've got up till there from the beginning of the first phrases. One, 2, 3 from the top. Yeah, feeling good on that so far. Not a lot of notes in this tune. So, then we go up to the third phrase, which is starts on the B, on the first finger on the A string. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Next little chunk is. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so that whole phrase is. And you'll notice that it's quite similar in phrasing to the second phrase. And we're going to repeat that 2 times as well. So. Yeah. And just to finish it off, we've got the fourth phrase, which is fingers on the G. try to do that all in one. So we've got. One, two, three. And it ends on that F sharp, right? So. And we're going to play it twice, just like all the other phrases. Perfect. Later, you'll find that that F sharp leads us perfectly into the A part again. But we're just going to play the third and fourth phrases here. So it'll go like this. From the third phrase, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, beautiful. So, do we remember the first phrase, how the first two phrases go? I'll sort of do a refresher. And I think Maria, if I can get her back here, she has a good way of remembering how to start each phrase by the first sort of two anchor notes. Maria, you want to show them the anchor notes?
Yeah, sorry. I have a problem here.
Furry problem.
No, I don't. Think you stop? Think you stop?
Yeah, just show them the anchor notes for the 4 parts.
Oh. Wait, what anchor? Do we do an anchor?
You usually do sort of so. The first
I
phrase
yeah, I
starts
just
on.
do an F sharp to go into the. Directly
E.
to the second.
But don't do the double stops.
Okay.
So the second phrase begins with the E. Third phrase begins with the
B.
B. The double stops. Then the fourth phrase begins with the G. So to refresh,
G.
no, F sharp.
Okay. I usually think about G with kind of like a how do you call cómo lo llamas, like a note that comes right before the other one. We have a name for that in Spanish.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
Or
I usually
the
think of
pickup.
G.
With the pickup.
Just think
let's say.
G, because sometimes it goes directly to. Yeah, you can choose to do it directly or. So let's think G. Yeah. So it's G, E, G, and B.
No. The G comes at the end.
E. Oh, sorry,
And then
I
B.
put it the other way around. So G, E, and E, B, sorry, and then G. Exactly. Okay, this is.
And maybe we're helping, and maybe you're all very confused now.
You know this. Okay.
So I'm going to play the whole tune a few times. If you've got any questions, maybe raise a hand or put it in the comments. It's pretty straightforward as the tune goes, so it's kind of just about getting into the rhythm, or the groove of it.
Yeah, Kevin,
the idea is that. What?
Kevin says it's kind of like a Vas and Polska feel.
I mean, it's
Yes.
totally a Polska.
Well, I think it's interesting. It has like this Polska vibe because our friends from Sweden. We went to Sweden after the quarantine here, and well, like a year later, and the whole concept of dots of light comes because one day we went for a walk in Sweden, and we're in the middle of the forest, and this feeling of feeling lonely in a place that you don't know, and you don't know what's the next step to go. We had no idea where we had to go, where the next they were like this little orange dots painted on the trees that you had to follow the path, and some of them were like talados, like huts, so they were
down.
fell. So sometimes you really had to look for those, and sometimes you went to that way, and it was not that way, and then you had to go back. So it was a good metaphor from nature. It was like a message from nature to us, to say, don't worry, there's always another dot that it's there. You just need to search for a bit more, and sometimes you have people that is gonna help you through that path. Sometimes you're gonna be alone, but the hope should be always there. So I think that's why it's a bit inspired in this Polska environment and feel. So, dot of light. Should we do the tune one time and then?
We should do the tune several times, and then at some point I'll tell you when you can do the canon part.
Yeah.
But not immediately.
Yeah, there's people here. The Darcy. You can both do it. Actually, like feel the canon in right now.
But they'll all be able to do it because they can hear me. So
Yeah.
everyone's playing with me. So we're gonna play the tune 2 times all the way through. See you at the other end. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Did we all make it? Does anybody know where the canon should start? Maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not obvious. Well, a dog just got out of that bed. Didn't see that coming. Who knows where the canon should start? No one knows where the canon should start. It's maybe easier than you think.
Maybe on this, like overlap. This is
Sorry, say that again. Overlap.
like overlap the. So like you start the phrase,
Mm-hmm.
and then I start the phrase, but you move on. I'm still on the first.
Okay. That could be a cool way. There's maybe no wrong answers to this, but there's the way that Maria and I have done it, which is the A part, or the first phrase, starts when the first person is playing the third phrase. So
Yeah,
as
so-
I move to play as the first instrument, first violin,
Like this. This is helpful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 3 begins the phrase 1. Yeah, is this
can't
clear?
tell whether that's helpful
Yeah.
or creepy.
So let's do it. We can do it.
So as I'm playing, that's when the first phrase comes in. So we're going to give you a little bit of an example, and then we'll do it all together. We're going to do an example, and then I'll play the whole thing, and Maria will indicate, not play, but indicate when y'all should come in to play the round. Does that sound good to you?
Okay, so I'm not playing.
Right. Well, you're playing now to demonstrate.
Okay.
So I'll go. So you see how it works. So now I'm going to play the melody, and y'all will come in when Maria tells you to come in on the third phrase.
Yeah. I like to use double stops a lot because not for the sake of just having double stops, but for the sake of having this bubble of harmonics around.
Yeah, especially with bowed string instruments. If you start double stopping, if there's two of you and you're each playing a melody, well then it sounds like two melodies. But if you play each person with double stops, well then it sounds like four melodies, and there's two of you, and the math doesn't work, but it sounds great.
Yeah, so phrase 1 and phrase 3 match together, and phrase 2 and phrase 4 match together. If you ever have doubts about which double stop should fit with the other phrase, just check out the other phrase, or which notes you can use. But usually open strings, at least in the fiddle, work very well.
In this case, since we're in the key of G, all of your open strings work.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, all of your open strings work. And if it sounds like they don't work, we'll just try another one of the open strings.
What are the 4 chords again?
But by the 4 chords, I mean, we didn't really talk about chords for this tune. So, what do you mean?
Be more specific with the...
We're playing sort of throughout the whole thing 4 notes?
No, 4 phrases. We're talking about 4 phrases.
Right, so the first phrase begins on a sharp G, and then the second phrase begins with an E.
And then B, and then G.
B, and then G.
Yes,
yeah, you got
exactly.
it.
That's only so we remember what is the note that each phrase begins with.
Yeah. So we've got.
Should we do can or?
I should play and they'll can.
Okay,
You have to indicate when they come in.
Okay, I'll tell you.
So I'm gonna go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Phrase 1. Phrase 2. We're gonna come in now. Phrase 1. the strings.
Cool.
Yay.
All right, we
Good
just
luck,
have
everybody.
a minute or two left.
Yeah. Well, that's it, and don't be afraid of trying bows and grooving on it, because that's the fun part, actually, changing rhythms and finding where the accents can go. It's a very fun tune to play with your friends and family and, yeah, people you love. To
Perfect.
Create moments.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I don't know if you have any last-minute questions for us before we pass the torch here.
Would you mind playing the third line, like the third part of the melody one more
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, because it has a note that goes out. So it goes, starts on the B. Has a C sharp, right?
D,
Oh,
D, C sharp, B, A. That's the
Yeah.
scale down. Yeah.
We have to go now.
So like
It's 6 o'clock,
the whole song, there's like
and we have a new
B, C,
person
D,
coming on.
right?
So thank
So
you
the
very
C
much.
part, I guess like there's three melodies that all kind of follow a similar phrasing, but then there's that one melody. It's like the third, number 3 out of 4 of all your melodies. And that one, it starts on the same note as the second melody, but then it kind of has a different pattern. That's the one.
Yeah, it follows the same melody wave, kind of like, but not exactly.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Sorry, yeah.
Another performer coming on now. So say thank you and move on.
Any
We
questions?
can-
Write
yeah.
to us.
We
Write
can
to
go in,
us.
if anybody wants to talk about that more, we can go into one of the other rooms.
Yeah.
Great.
Good luck.
All right.
Pass the torch.